Hi. All right. Welcome everybody to another wonderful episode of Unwrap Love. My name is, well, hold on. We got a really great show for you lined up this evening. So, my name is Gabriel,
And I'm Yvette Richardson,
and welcome to the Unwrap Love Show.
where we pull back the layers of love and relationships.
So,
So
buckle
buckle
up
up
for
for
love,
love,
everyone.
everyone.
All right. There we go.
You jumped ahead.
I did jump ahead. That's okay. We're ad-libbing is part of kind of what we do. We kind of just go with the flow. We do have a little bit of scripted like dialogue, but most of it's
Not always.
not always.
All right. So, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so today we are actually talking about, is social media killing your love life? This was an interesting topic when we were like tossing out ideas of things to discuss. Simply because it's something I've experienced personally myself, and as a creator who creates social media and wants people to watch, okay, that's my objective. Um, you also know that you have to have a boundary in how you either create or partake in viewing social media. So it was one of the things that I failed in a few of my other past relationships, was a big issue. Because when I got into doing content creation and spending most of my time on social media, ooh, it changed the dynamic of how our relationship was. And it was one of the lessons that I had to learn when I started to decide to create content, and even doing it with you. Like, I had to learn what my boundary was and where the limitations were for us to do this as creators, because I think this is part of what I mean when I say that when you have like communication between two people, it is usually most direct. And even though we're doing this together and we're talking between the two of us, we do have a moment where we have to kind of put a boundary in front of us and say, okay, we got to stop doing this because it's too much. It weighs too much on our relationship. So it was one of the lessons that I'm still learning now, even as we're doing this together, is learning why social media can really play a part in either being a positive or negative thing in a relationship, you know? And I'll say this from having experienced both. Uh, I love the positive aspect of being a content creator, but the negative part, they both have an effect on you psychologically that I think a lot of people don't quite understand. I mean, this when we're talking about breakdown in communication, um, I have had issues where I've been accused of it, and I know I rightfully so. I spend too much time on my phone. I've seen, and we were just watching what um, the whole Love Is Blind series on Netflix, and one of the things they played and was part of the show was one of the couples that got together. They showed one of the fiancés like spending all his time on his phone, and they made it a big deal. um, every time that they were inside of a conversation, or anytime there might have been a moment to connect, right? To have a special moment. I mean, it was taken away simply by looking down at that little rectangular box put in front of us. And man, I got to tell you, it's a beautiful world when you look up about 6 inches over that screen. Okay.
Yeah, social media is a great tool, but it's an interactive tool, and it's a tool that calls for our attention. And it has all of those notifications that are constantly, like right now as I'm talking, I keep looking over at Gabe's phone, and he's continuously getting notifications from social media. So it's a constant grab for your attention. And so, sometimes we do get overly involved with it, where we are constantly feeling like the urge to check it. And so, um There should be, and I've been doing a lot of research because I'm actually writing a paper about the kind of the connection between cell phone use and how is that affecting relationships, especially marriages. Is it helping a marriage? Is it hurting a marriage? Like, what are some of the new norms today? Because we didn't used to have cell phones involved in a marriage, in family relationships. There was, you came home from work and then you made eye contact and you cooked dinner, you hung out with the family, you spoke to each other, you spoke face to face. Now we have situations where you come home and your phone's still buzzing from email from work, or you're getting notifications from social media. And so people are looking at their phone a lot. And so they did a research on how often are couples, like when you're in a marriage or cohabiting or in a serious relationship, how often do you see your significant other be distracted by their phone when they're trying to have a conversation with them? And 51% of the people surveyed said, yeah, it's a problem a lot. It happens often. They took the age groups and they separated the age groups and they said, okay, well, who is it affecting? Is it the younger or is it the older? And 40% of people over the age of 50 said it affected them. 52% was 18 to 29. And then from 30 to 49, it was 62%.
Uh,
62% set. So it's a little bit older, but not too old, but not too young. So I don't know if it's changing with the younger generation, or if it's by the time they get older, they just start using it even more. I'm not sure. But yeah, so between 30 and 49, 62% said that their significant other gets distracted on their phone when they're trying to have a face-to-face conversation.
yeah,
Like, eh
and it's difficult, right? It's difficult to kind of think about when when you want to have a real honest, genuine conversation with somebody. Because when you want to look somebody in the eye and get a point across, right? You want to make sure there's acknowledgement. And when someone's looking down at their phone, it's very hard to take that in and see that and go, yeah, they're really listening to what I'm saying. Like, come on. You're The distraction that's there is very difficult, especially when you're the one trying to communicate directly with that person, that you feel like, man, it feels my words are just, you know, wasted. I've said this before. Sometimes when I'm in those situations, I feel like just turning around and talking to the wall, because I feel I'll have a better response than when communicating with somebody that that should want to be in this conversation. They should want to be in this discussion, because most of the times it has to do with something in between the two of us. And it's hard when, again, deep down, you feel like you need to be vulnerable and open up, and then, something like that happens, and it
and
feels,
their eyes are not on you.
yeah.
They're on the phone. I mean, it's horrible, and I dealt with it for years. My ex was constantly scrolling on his phone when I tried to have a conversation with him, and I'd tell him too. I'm like, "Can you make eye contact with me? Because, I can't tell if you're listening." And he's like, "Oh, I'm listening. I just, I have ADD and I got to be doing something at the same time. It's the only way I can focus. And so, I just have to do it." And so I just grew to accept it. It was horrible, but I just, I would talk to him every now and then, but I really didn't want to. I didn't want to say anything because I felt like he was more interested on what was on his phone than what I had to say. And so it's one awesome thing about Gabe is he very rarely has his phone in his hand when I'm talking to him. And if I can tell, like, if he's busy and he's looking at something, then, I just wait till he's off, and then, or if he knows I'm trying to say something to him, he'll put it down and then we talk. And so it doesn't become, a distraction for us so far in our
Yeah.
relationship. We've been together a year, and so far so good. I'm hoping it keeps that way,
Right,
because
yeah.
yeah, I really it's one of the things I hate. I detest when someone is scrolling on their phone and I'm trying to talk to them.
Yeah, and it was again, it was a boundary that I had to set upon myself because when I started to realize it, it was a crutch for me at a time when I should have been like focused, eyes up, looking or being involved in my own life, was looking down at that screen. And it was hard. And I love social media. I love, as a creator, I love being a part of it. I love being in the mix. But part of my own development and growth was also learning how to disconnect away from it and realize what's important and what's not. Like there are times when it's okay for me to be like enthralled with what I'm doing on social media. And then there's times where I have to say, okay, I got to put my phone down.
That's called netiquette.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so having etiquette on the net, and so that's kind of that. And then another term that I learned is called phubbing. So it's spelled Phubbing. So that's when you are pretty much distracted on your phone and you're ignoring your significant other. You're like phubbing them. Um, but yeah, but in a relationship, like he said, he had to learn, how to what the norms were, what the rules were, the social rules when it comes to how often you need to be on it or putting it down when you're having a conversation. Like, you have to kind of establish those boundaries early on in a relationship for it to, stick, I think.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you what, I mean, yeah, I was in a short term thing where we were at times being intimate with each other, should I say? And as soon
With
as
who?
with
Are you talking about me?
no. I said in a past relationship.
Oh, I didn't hear that first part.
Okay.
I was like, "What?"
And then as soon as you get no. And then as soon as you were done doing, whatever it was that you were doing, that other individual will reach over for their phone. And you're like, "What? Like really? Like this is a time like we should be like bonding, like connecting right there in the moment." And as soon as they're done or you whatever you were doing and then they reach over for their phone,
Oh,
you're
wow.
like, "Okay, this sucks." Like there's no conversation, there's nothing there. You feel like you just got
Wow.
stonewalled. Oh yeah, it's
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if that didn't really happen very often, so I can't remember.
well, let me tell you, it's not the best feeling to have when you just want like to say spend time, like you feel like you made a very intimate connection with that person and then all of a sudden
They wanna look
it's
at their phone?
yeah, it's the glowing illumination coming from whatever fucking social media or whatever they were looking at. And it drove me
Wow.
nuts. It drove me nuts because I was like, man, this is not the time or the place to do that. But I don't know how normal that is
Interesting.
now, and as far as
Yeah.
like
Is
you
that something
like
that
you get
that
done,
wasn't on the research that they did?
but get done doing what you're doing, right?
And then reach for your
Turn
phone.
over and then reach for your phone.
Yeah, is
And
that becoming the new norm? I know it's not with us, but,
it,
like,
no, but to me it was shocking. It was shocking that that was a thing because when you think about it in terms of like I'm just gonna use it in olden days, right? When you got finished, it was like if you were to do that to pick up your like rotary phone and call somebody as soon as you got done, like, hey, hold on, and then you turn it, not,
or you start writing a letter to somebody
yeah,
else.
yeah, somebody else, right? Let me get a quill and paper and like my parchment there and sit down by the candlelight. But like that's crazy though. To me, it was crazy to sit there and realize that this is where I'm
Yeah,
at.
because then your mind starts wondering, and it's like, "Okay, so are they going on there to go talk to somebody
Yeah,
else?"
y'alls or yeah.
Because
It,
Yeah, who else is on their mind right now?
so it was
It's not you.
it was crazy. It was crazy. Trust me when you talk about why I feel like social media can kill your love life. Like it can. Um, especially when you're like saying you have very deep and intimate conversations with your partner, and then you go post about it on Facebook on your status, and I'm like, why the hell would you want to share that kind of stuff? Like that's to me the intimate details that needs to stay in the bedroom, and that's not always the case. I would see stuff on social media that people would post, and I go, "This is crazy.
Mm.
This is nuts." Like I,
Like intimate things they were posting?
yeah,
Like fights or no? Bedroom
fights,
stuff?
bedroom stuff that they weren't doing or in
Mm.
doing correctly or in not doing correctly. I mean, it was it was hard. It was hard to like think and fathom that people actually
Oh, yeah.
share those kind of details.
I've seen that too on some on Facebook where it's like everything about their relationship is posted and it can definitely hold on. Sorry. I was reading the comment there.
Oh,
Social media.
so this was coming from our good doctor over on our Twitch page.
Mm,
So it said past social media and TV influencers dominated a lot of decisions in relationships. So if
mhm.
Oprah said it, if Dr. Ruth said it, dear Abby said it, your significant other didn't do it in the relationship would be on the brink. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
But
Yeah.
but that's how social media has sort of evolved as well. I mean, it's instantaneous now.